Welcome to Destination Uri, the morning program. I'm Rowan Hand. This is Paul J. Miles.
Don't forget about us, the ones who've passed here before. Don't forget about us, who lost lives so much more. Don't forget about us. Don't forget the reasons we are here today. As the years have come and gone, there's been a change. There's been a change. Don't forget about us, the lost lives. Don't forget about us and how we lived. Don't forget about us as you travel on. Don't forget.
Wow, thank you so much indeed. Paul, you're very welcome.
Thank you so much.
All the way
Rowan.
from Detroit.
Yes, Motown.
Yeah, indeed. What's Detroit like?
Well, Detroit, Rowan, is on the rebound. A lot of people have discussed Detroit with me on my trip to Europe this time, when I arrived in Switzerland, and also for the very, very kind Irish people have asked me very sincerely, how is Detroit? How is it going? We've heard about the bankruptcy. We've heard about that.
Yes, we did.
And those things have happened. But what is in the plan now is a kind of rebirth, kind of rising from the ashes, rising from the phoenix rising.
Yeah.
There's people who are taking an active part in community rebuilding. There's different politicians that replace some of the bad apples.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting that community is giving up of its people to rebuild?
Yes.
So it's community rebuilding.
It's community rebuilding. It's taking back from the blight. It's taking back from the crime. It's taking back from the negative aspects of just human living, that condition, and that's the way to go. As opposed to somebody just coming from the outside. It has to be from the inside.
You're a Detroiter, so to speak.
Yes.
You were born there.
No, I was born in Ohio, but I've adopted Detroit.
Oh, I wish I could say I was born in Ohio. For goodness sake. Born in Ohio.
I was born in Ohio, raised there, high school, college, Bowling Green State University. I did American football,
Wow.
scholarship. And
Your head has survived.
yeah,
You're still able to write beautiful songs, I tell you.
But been blessed with that. And then in terms of my travels from there then to Southern California, when the football, as you would know, careers can change, and so it changed from sports to music, and I started over right from the bottom, where I needed to be, because I was the new kid on the block, and it was 1975.
Yeah. Was music in your family?
Music has always been in my family.
Well, I suppose really I should answer that question myself. Music is in the family of every Afro-American. Of course it is.
It's been the church was the first place, the Baptist church, and that was being in the boys' choir. My voice is a little higher then.
Yes.
But that was a tradition. I remember the lessons and the services and the various occasions, and from the Easter services and just a lot of the different things there. But that's where I first heard music.
What does music do for the soul of Paul J. Miles?
It gives me reason to be here. It gives me reason to motivate my spirit to reach out. I've been blessed with the talent, and I've been able to see through the eyes of music so many miraculous things. Yeah. And it's on a daily basis. So every day is like an adventure. It's like kind of going around the corner and like a young kid wondering, what am I going to see? Well, when I play music, I see and I feel a lot on a daily basis. And so it has opened up me more than being a football player.
Yes, of course, I would have thought so.
You know, or having excess money to do excess things, but not really doing the substance of the heart.
Yeah. Mom and Dad, as you were growing up, they encouraged you, they helped you. Were they in the church with you?
Yes, my mother was also a vocalist, so I've always heard music.
Yes.
And she met my father, and she was on a vocal scholarship to Toledo University when she met my dad.
Yeah.
And then I came along, and no plans changed, but her plans of not of continuing to sing was always there. Yeah. So now that we can discover that babies can hear,
yes.
I guess I've been hearing it before I got here, you know, on this side. But that was always there. And then the encouragement I got from my father was just one of those, you know, very, very quiet family man, took care of things, worked extra, did work at General Motors, the factory worker.
In Detroit.
In Detroit, and then there's a byproduct of a city called Defiance where he was at making those parts. But the thing about it was that at work, a lot of his friends knew that I played football, and then I think he probably said, well, my son likes music, so he brought a guitar and put it in the corner, and it's kind of sad there. Well, my father didn't play. His hands were, you know, big hands, and, you know, probably hurt working in it as a steel worker. So I started playing his guitar. Well, when I first started playing it, Rowan, he said, with his eyes like this, can you take that outside? You're making too much noise. You know?
He was very lucky. He was very lucky it weren't the bagpipes. But you came on and you did it, and
yes.
it started to happen. We Irish, we're fiendish in America. The Irish Americans, or the American Irish, they come back looking their roots in Ireland all the time. But there is an even greater lineage for the Afro-Americans. Whence did you come? Which part of Africa did you come? The president is from Kenya. Mm-hmm. Did you ever research your roots?
I'm in the midst of doing that, but I also know that I have a mixed heritage. I have a Native American on one side, and I also have Dutch on another side.
Yeah.
And so I've got that composite, and I want to do the DNA test,
yes.
because I heard various kind of things, but I know I've seen that my great-grandmother was full-blooded Native
wow.
American, so that makes me an eighth.
Yes, it does, of course.
And so people say, well, wait a minute, if your great-grandmother was Native, then that means she was already here. I said, yeah.
Yes.
I said, so there's a part of me that. I claim the indigenous black man, American, because I have a direct connection to the land.
Yes.
You know, with my great-grandmother.
Of course you do.
Now, the other aspects of too, you have a mixing of that, but I want to do a complete research. I think you can do it with your DNA, and it can let you know what tribe and all that. But that's something I want to do for myself and also for my family, my grandchildren.
I have to say, my time, the last 10 years, I spent a lot of time in northwest Nigeria, involved in school building with the Kamberi people
that's
there,
wonderful,
ongoingly there. So we're good. We have good lines of communication. But I actually walked in a place called Badagry, in southern Nigeria.
Uh-huh.
I walked the slave road
from
Badagry, where the children were kept in cages before being forced down across the dunes, the sand dunes, to the low tide mark, taken out in canoes and brought to the waiting boats and onward shipping. Horrendous cruelty, awfulness. And people like you who are of a Christian heritage, and I'm thinking as well of the people in Charleston, singing Amazing Grace yesterday and forgiving. What is it about your belief, your belief in a God that allows you to take that all in your stride and to forgive?
I think for myself, the way that I was raised, that there are sacrifices have been made for us. And if you're looking at the story of Jesus Christ, I mean, we've got somebody to put the ultimate on the line for people that he did not know, for future generations. And so you take a look at that. I know that going back in terms of a historical aspect regarding of what the church was, that was a place of refuge. That was a place where you could breathe. Because the time that I was raised, we're talking, I was born in 1952. So you're still in the heart of the, in the middle of the civil rights, people being hanged, you know, just the atrocities that were going on. The laws weren't even passed because you had some of the things that weren't until 1954. The others were not until 1964. But you still had the drinking fountains, separate schools, this and that, and whenever. I mean, I remember people say, "Oh, you can remember that far back." I said, "I can remember where I couldn't go downtown and get my hair cut. I couldn't. There was a swimming pool that was just that we weren't allowed to go. You know, it was in my community in a small town in Ohio, and I had I wasn't called the N-word in the home. I was called that on the way to school. So what I'm saying is that I know about bullying,
Yeah.
and that aspect of it, because I remember, you know, my mother used to tell me this once. She says, when school's out, I want you to come straight home.
Of course.
All right?
Mom would do that.
All right.
Because of,
Right. She said, come straight home. So my mother knew when that bell rang about what time I should be coming through that door if I came straight home. And so there was a couple instances where she says, where were you been? I said, oh, I came home. She said, no, you didn't come straight home.
hey, what a wise woman. What a wise
Yeah,
woman.
she did. You didn't come straight home. And I was embarrassed. And here you got a 6-year-old kid embarrassed to tell his mother that people are calling me names. And in the wintertime, I remember they were picking up snow and putting rocks in them and throwing them at me. And so I was embarrassed to tell my mother that. And so eventually it did, get out because we had that neighborhood. We had neighborhood watch before they officially said it. Where's Paulie at? They call me Paulie. Where's Paulie at?
Yeah.
Oh, Vera, he's up here Main Street. He's getting ready to cross the street.
I love it. Free GPS. And the satellites with the mums and the grandmoms
Yeah.
and the fathers.
He's almost there. Yeah, right.
You got him. Look at him.
Yeah. He'll be
Listen, have you still got mum and dad?
My mother passed. My mother's a former mayor of. She was the first woman and the first of color to be elected mayor in my hometown. She passed in 2000, and she was a 4-time elected mayor. So historically, that's there. I was blessed to have a street renamed after me for my football playing days. So my mother lived at number 29 Miles Street, and she was the mayor. And my mother could not be bought, couldn't be, couldn't try to get by her. And people say, "Will your mother give you a ticket if you broke the law?" I said, "Yes, she can."
Yes, you would.
and she made sure everybody knew it.
Yeah.
My father died in 1989. He worked himself. People talk about working yourself to death.
Yeah.
My father worked extremely hard at General Motors. He had lost a limb due to condition that he had, but he lived to the age of 62. Now, what happens on it when you're talking like about the next generation? When I hit 62, I had that kind of like throwback. I said, "This is where my father was."
Yes.
And in my family, the rest of the men have died earlier than that.
Yes.
So I am I'm 63, and I'm looking like this. I said, I have no uncles on my father's side. I have no aunts, and a lot of those died because they just did not take care of themselves in the right way. And even for myself, I got to make sure myself, regarding about my heart, blood pressure. Now that it's a direct line. So I've had my episodes, and
of course.
but I know this music.
It's going to keep you forever.
Yeah, going to keep
You're
me.
going to sing. You'll be singing. You're off to Stormont. You're playing music at the Lennon Memorial in the Long Gallery. That's important to you.
I believe that in terms of an intervention of sort for me to meet with Lisa and coming together for this project has been part of my aspect of peace for the entire world, of acknowledging our connections. And so this is a very, very important day, and I'm really looking forward to it because it was something that you couldn't have drawn it up to how it happened.
No way.
To how it happened.
No
People
way.
say, "You're in Ireland, you'll sing what?" What? And so you pinch yourself, but you also know too, and I was telling people when I played last night, I said, we have duties and we have things to do. And you have to stand up and measure up and do what you need to do.
Yeah. Paul, you'll play us out, will you?
Yes.
Good on you. And thank you very, very much indeed. Go well.
My pleasure.
Which actually is an African phrase. Go well.
I like it, my brother.
I like it.
I wrote this here in the studio this morning. You know how those things happen, baby. Come on. Hey, Mr. Union Man, what you trying to do? Fighting for equality, I want to fight with you. Hey, Mr. Union Man, marching in the streets, you're telling the whole wide world you can't be beat. And I want to say so clear, woo, keep on fighting, bring justice here. Woo! Hey, Mr. Union Man, won't you raise your hands? Your voice of freedom will cover this land.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Well done. Well done. Take care.
Thank you.
Paul Miles, all the way from Detroit in the United States of America. Bless you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Go on.